can you share with me one of your favorite Thanksgiving memories?
Oh, I'd say the most um, monumental Thanksgiving I can remember is Thanksgiving 1965.
I bet that was. Tell us about it.
Um, well, for several weeks before Thanksgiving, there were advertisements on TV um, about Underdog appearing in balloon form in the Thanksgiving Day Parade by Macy's. This would be the first time it was used, and immediately after the parade, there was supposed to be a special Underdog TV program with some Thanksgiving story. Um, I watched the Macy's parade to see the Underdog balloon, but um, well, Lauren Green was one of the commentators, and when it was time to bring the Underdog balloon forward, he spoke in a reverential tone of voice,
Mm.
and the balloon was heralded with the Underdog theme music, but 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 the balloon carriers didn't just go on with the balloon and disappear around the corner. They stopped in the middle of the street for a feature presentation in which one of the customary adversaries was trying to stop the parade altogether.
So this was like a Simon Bar Sinister type.
It it was Simon Bar Sinister, yes.
Did it look like him? Was it like a human being, or did he have like a big Simon Bar Sinister head, or was it like a plain faced person?
It was a large um, headpiece that looked like Simon Bar Sinister's head.
Ah, very nice. And did they have like a recording of him saying like "Stop the parade"?
Um,
Simon says stop.
um, I don't know if it was live dialogue or taped, but there was some dialogue, and Underdog came to the rescue, and then Lauren Green spoke again. Good show, Underdog. So so
How,
so then the
how old were you then?
what?
How old were you at that time?
13.
So what did you how did you feel? Like what was going on with you when you were seeing this?
Um, well, I was completely overwhelmed because the Underdog balloon and the character of Underdog were made the subject of a feature presentation instead of the carriers, just the balloon handlers, just coming down the street and disappearing around the corner.
hmm So did was the whole family there to see this, or was it just you or your brothers, or like what was going on?
I watched it alone on television.
Wow, that must have been a great moment.
Oh, it was heart searing. It was also the clincher.
hmm The clincher for what?
Um, well, over the past few months, I had developed a liking for Underdog and feeling that I should uh, impersonate him, and then seeing a presentation like that was the clincher. I simply had to assume um, his his identity and impersonate him.
Now, did you already have the costume? Because I remember that you said that you were performing in your room by yourself.
I didn't start doing that until the following January.
So this is all right, November. So November, you got the idea. You knew that you were going to impersonate Underdog.
Um, I,
You,
I I made my decision. I was going to do it.
all right. So you were toying with the idea before, but
Yeah.
then you knew this is what you were going to do. So over December, you were making your outfit then.
No, I don't think I really seriously went into making it until after I danced for the first time.
So what did you wear the first time that you just had like a red leotard?
I had the blue cape, but it wasn't anything like the spectacular capes that I wore um, in more professional circles. It was a very simple blue cape, and I think I think I had a white leotard, um, uh, and my parents didn't approve of it at all.
Hold it. How did they know? I mean, you were doing this in your room by yourself, right? And did they come in and say, "Hey, what are you doing?" Did you have the? Did you? Was it a towel or was it like a cape? Cape.
A piece of cloth tailored to be like a cape.
Okay. All right. So you were dancing in your room and they caught you. They came in and said, "Hey, what are you doing?"
No, they no. I tried to fight um, showing it visibly the passion I was developing, but my mother said, "I know what you're up to. I know everything that goes on with you." So
Was she assuming?
what?
Hold it. So you said that you were trying to hide your feelings about this. How would you show it? How would she know?
Um, because because on that Thanksgiving Day after the parade, there was supposed to be that TV cartoon special. It was advertised nationwide, but it aired only in New York.
Ah,
My father found out, and I was crying. Um, I was really crying, and
which episode was it?
it was one in which Underdog time traveled to the original Thanksgiving feast.
Mm. And what caused you to cry?
I said it was advertised beforehand nationwide as being aired right after the Macy's parade, but it aired only in New York.
So you couldn't see it because you were in New Jersey
Right.
and you were sad about that.
Yes.
And they were your mom suspected your feelings.
Yes.
Did you have feelings for other things like this that caused her to admonish you about things like this?
Oh, just about anything I was interested in, my parents would find fault with one way or another.
Well, I mean, come on. People could like macrame, or people could like other things. I mean, what were the things that you liked?
I liked baking cakes,
Uh huh.
um, uh, doing um, doing craft work.
Uh huh. Like a craft work, like what?
I like to make clothes for the commercial fashion dolls that were around at the time.
So you would make clothes for your dolls?
Yeah, then I'd want to make clothes for myself.
Nice. So then, what was wrong with that? Did your parents admonish you for that?
I wasn't that skilled yet. When I made a presentable dress, my mother said that's fit for wearing only around the house because it looks homemade.
Hmm. Okay, so that was one example, but was there an example of anything else that you really liked that she did not want you being into? Like when she saw that you were into Underdog, she was like trying to put the kibosh on it, trying to say no.
She just wouldn't tolerate my uh, going for him and um, impersonating him through through dance.
Ah, so were you dancing in your room or were you dancing in the living room or something when she said that she knew that you were up to stuff?
I was alone in my room.
So she was just walking by.
No, I had the door closed.
hmm So did she hear music or something?
Um, She heard the TV set. She heard me stepping around.
Ah. Okay, well, there's nothing wrong with that. Oh, did you say that once that you used to dance and your brother saw you dancing Underdog and told your mom?
Yeah.
That's when you were how old?
13.
So, all right. Oh, yeah. So this was your first year of doing Underdog.
Yes.
So you're still doing the white leotard thing by then.
No, I don't. No, I had an adequate costume by that time.
So by this time,
Later on.
So it was, what was it? Was it the leotard and the tights and the cape?
Yes.
Did you have a U for the front?
No.
Uh-huh. So almost, but not quite. Not going all the way on this one yet. So you were dancing.
That's right.
Yeah. So you were dancing in your room.
Uh-huh.
During an episode?
Yeah.
So you were watching the episode, and every time that Underdog would take flight, you would take flight.
Yes.
Ah. And your brother also he used to watch Underdog too, yeah?
Each week when Underdog came on, I would shut my bedroom door, put on the costume, and watch the installment for that day. Dancing when Underdog was on stage, so to speak.
Right. So, and then you'd have to like put up with like Go-Go Gophers or General McBragg, and you're like, hurry up.
I didn't like it when those other characters were done in between Underdog chapters. They were distracting.
Right. You just wanted like the pure Underdog here.
Well, later they did that.
Thank goodness. All right. So what happens is, so you were in your room and your brother walked by, or how did you find out that you were doing Underdog?
He opened the door and spied on me.
Ah. So he knew you were dancing.
Yeah.
And he went straight to your mom? That's not fair. Well, at least now you get to dance Underdog as much as you want now.
I haven't done him. I don't think I've done him at all this year because of the quarantine. And well, during Thanksgiving weekend, any parades I'm in, I do Underdog. But the parades that I'm normally in have been called off for this year.
All right. Well, there'll be more. Who will you be performing as next year?
What do you mean? Any special themes or anniversaries next year?
Yes.
No, I'm afraid not.
Okay.
I intend to be more variegated next year. As soon, but I can't do it until the quarantine's lifted.
More what-icated? I thought you said barricaded. Barricaded?
Varied. I do an assortment of costumes and themes.
So variegated. I understand. Sorry, I misheard. I'm very curious about, was there any time in your career doing Underdog that your parents had, were allowing of because you had to go underground with the Underdog thing, and then that's when you were trying to suppress that feeling for Underdog, that's when you started focusing on Dracula.
No.
Oh, all right, what happened?
No. That wasn't till I was uh, grown up, although I did not yet have my own place.
Okay, so let's see. So let's go back a bit. You got in trouble with your brother for doing Underdog. Now, despite that incident and your mom getting mad at you, did you continue to do Underdog?
Yes, within the privacy of my room.
Mm-hmm. All right, so there was no other incidents with anybody bursting in or anything like that.
Oh, sometimes there were.
Uh-huh. Was it always your brother or
A couple of times it was one of my parents.
oh. So were they very mad?
Yes.
Can't you just like something?
I've told you so often how I was bullied by my parents, especially my father, to go for reality only, to fantasize was a mortal sin.
Mm. Right. I remember that you wrote a story. You're in school, they wanted you to write a story, like a fantasy story.
And sometimes we were assigned to write compositions. I had the ability to write some good fictional stories, but then my father always said, I want to read your work before you turn it in. He would be scrutinizing my works for believability.
Uh-huh. And the story that you wrote, they didn't like it. What was the story that you did for school?
Well, there were several when I was in the upper grades.
Uh-huh. Was there any that you liked particularly? Any stories that you really felt you did a good job? I'm a school teacher, so I'm always curious.
Oh, okay. In my high school senior year, um, in as part of my English class, um, my whole class had to read the Canterbury Tales.
Sure.
In my high school library, I found a copy of the Canterbury Tales in modern English,
Mm-hmm.
and I made up um, several several group dance numbers um, uh, telling uh, some of those tales.
Right. So you had interpretive dance for stories from the Canterbury Tales.
Well, yeah. No, the thing is, I wrote a composition in which an imaginary ballet company was asked to do Chaucer's Canterbury Tales because it was a milestone anniversary of Chaucer's death, and this ballet company went to London to do it before the Queen.
Wow, that sounds like a great story. So did your parents read it?
My father assumed the right to read it. I told you, he barged in saying, "I want to read that story before you turn it in."
Okay, so he read it?
Um, yeah, he read it and he said, "I see you got to do your dance."
So there was no incident that time.
Um, I, I really could never satisfy my father.
Mm. So he's always scrutinizing any of the stories you wrote.
Not just mine. He would horn in on my brother's homework too, or any of their interests.
Wow. Oh, so all right. What kind of interest did your brothers have? I'm curious. Were they, you know?
Um, well, the one that eventually moved to Florida was always very mechanically inclined.
Mm-hmm. And so he wanted to make things,
Yes.
and your father wouldn't allow that, or would he allow that?
He would bear down on that brother to see that he imagined things only as as practical as they would be in real life. That also this brother made several entertainment systems for the bedroom that he shared with one of my other brothers. So he had to have all sorts of mechanical parts and lights and gadgets. He would make one system, and then shortly after having had that system a while, he got an idea for another one. And my parents objected to his excessive interest, they claimed, in these mechanical systems. He called them room entertainment systems.
So this could have been something that he could have really did as a career.
Yes.
But he was kind of quashed down. What did he end up becoming, if I may ask?
He's a lights and special effects engineer.
Oh, okay. So he ended up following his dream.
Yes, but still, all the time we children were growing up, our parents, especially our father, because mom would be preoccupied with household duties. Our father had more liberty to move around the house and barge in on our business. And was he just being a father, or just trying to make sure everything was securely under his thumb, control-wise?
Did he have a job that was a very security oriented kind of job where he needed control?
No.
So what did he do, if I may ask?
He was a computer systems analyst.
An analyst. Oh, because I would think that he would want your brother to go and work on computer stuff. But did your brother work on any special effects for movies or television?
No, just the companies that he worked for.
So he's like a company man. Well, that's some good examples. Well, I hope that there was so there was no time at all that they appreciate, because you always see in like a storyline that they see what you can finally do, and all the awards that you've gotten, and all the honors that you've gotten, and all the trophies you've got. How many trophies would you say? Trophies and medals. How many have you accumulated, Suzanne?
Well, they weren't for mechanical engineering. They were for performances.
No, I'm talking about yours, but performing is what you wanted, right? What did they envision for you? What did they want you to do?
My father insisted I would make a very good artist if, he burdened me down with how-to books.
For drawing?
And would check up on me if I was drawing something. And, well, especially one time when I had bronchial pneumonia and had to stay out of school for a while, he would check up on me.
Wow, so you had bronchial pneumonia as a child? How old were you?
I was 15.
So, all right. So this was during the Underdog year. So you still loved Underdog, but now you had
Yes,
so he would bring you to sketchbooks and stuff, art supplies.
I told you he gave he laid me down with all these how to do it books, and um, I was kind of hurt because it figured, oh my gosh, I've got to do it. I've got to do it exactly like these books say, or he won't be satisfied.
But he was never satisfied.
Right.
Hmm. I'm sorry, Suzanne. You should definitely consider doing that as part of a book or a story or part of your memoirs. It's fascinating.